You don't want love. Not really. What you want is to stop feeling invisible, to stop carrying that weight of silence in your chest. You want to feel seen, like you finally matter. But that craving isn't love. It's a desperate need to prove to yourself that you're not forgotten, not broken, not less than. She wasn't the answer. She was a mirror reflecting the version of yourself you thought was worthy, only when someone else looked your way. And when she left, that version died. You felt empty because it was never about her. It was about the part of you you refused to face. You chase her messages like they're lifelines, but every text you wait for is a reminder that you gave away your power. You traded your peace for a moment of feeling wanted, and now you're hollow. This is what it means to mistake validation for love, to confuse the hunger to belong with genuine connection. You think you miss her voice, but what you miss is the quiet validation her attention gave you, the illusion that you mattered. Marcus Aurelius taught us to look within, to find strength inside ourselves because that's where it lives. But you've been looking outward, searching in every glance, every word, every delayed reply for the worth you left on the outside. When the texts stop coming, you don't mourn her, you mourn yourself. You mourn the man who needed someone else to feel whole. You mourn the silence that crashes back in, louder than before. You think you need her, but what you need is to learn how to sit alone without flinching, to hold your own gaze in the mirror and find a man staring back who is enough, to know you're not defined by someone else's need for you. Seneca said, "True freedom comes from self-control, not from pleasing others." Yet here you are, wrapped in the chains of wanting to be wanted. This is the real battle, breaking free from the addiction to being seen, to being chosen, to being saved by someone else's attention. It's a brutal fight, one that demands you face the parts of yourself you've buried, fear, loneliness, doubt. But in that battle, you find your strength. In the quiet moments when no one is watching, when you choose to breathe instead of reach, you become free. Not free because someone loves you, but free because you love yourself enough to stand in your own light, to be your own validation, to be your own home. You'll still feel the ache sometimes. That's part of being alive. But the difference now is you won't run. You won't scramble for scraps of affection like their survival. You'll hold your ground, steady and calm, knowing your value is not tied to anyone else's desire. This is what it means to be a man in control of himself, to master the inner chaos instead of being tossed around by it, to carry your pain with dignity, to face your loneliness without shame. It's not easy, it's not quick, but it's the only way to true love, the kind that starts inside and radiates outward. The kind that doesn't need to be chased because it's already yours. The world will try to sell you connection as a cure, but no one else can heal the man you are except you. Look into your own eyes. Find the man who's been waiting there all along, imperfect, fractured, but unbreakable. Love isn't something to catch or keep. It's something you build within. And once you do, you'll never need to chase it again. You don't have to fill every silence with noise. The quiet can be a refuge, not a punishment. The man who fears his own stillness is the man who has yet to meet himself. Walk alone at night. Feel the weight of your footsteps on empty streets. Let the darkness teach you that you're still standing, still breathing, still here. There's a kind of peace in knowing you're whole, even when no one else is watching. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." You can't control the world or who stays and who leaves, but you can control the way you hold your own heart. Don't let your worth depend on fleeting moments, on someone's changing feelings. Anchor yourself in something deeper, your own integrity, your own courage. When rejection comes, and it will, don't run. Don't hide. Stand there and feel it fully. Because pain is the gatekeeper to growth. It carves out the space inside where strength can grow. A man who masters himself doesn't need applause. He walks through storms with quiet confidence because he's anchored by something no one can take away: his own resolve. You may stumble, you may fall, but each time you rise without begging for rescue, you rewrite your story. The man you long to be isn't found in her eyes. He's forged in the furnace of your own endurance. You're not weak for feeling lonely. You're strong for staying when everything inside screams to run. This is your journey, not hers, not theirs. Yours. Build the fortress inside yourself that no heartbreak can breach, that no rejection can shatter. Because when you learn to stand alone, you stop needing to prove you're enough. And that's freedom. A man who loves himself deeply no longer chases love. He attracts it. Not because he's perfect, but because he's whole. And that man, he's unstoppable. Now, this is only the beginning. Because real growth isn't a single moment or speech. It's a process, a daily battle and victory. You'll wake some mornings and the silence will feel unbearable. The emptiness will scream. You'll want to call her, text her, reach out. But here's the truth few dare to say. The voice calling out isn't really hers. It's your fear, your old wounds demanding comfort. You must learn to recognize that voice, not fight it, not shame it, but watch it, name it. Only then can you choose differently. Every time you resist, you gain strength. Every day you stay present with your pain, you build a new muscle in your soul. It's like standing under cold rain. At first, it's shocking, uncomfortable, but over time you learn to breathe through it, to feel alive inside it. That's resilience, not the absence of pain, but the ability to move through it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Your pain is the path, not the obstacle. The man who runs from pain never becomes whole. The man who embraces it, who stands in it, who learns from it, becomes unbreakable. So you keep walking, alone if you must, but never lost. The night can feel endless, but dawn always breaks. And when it does, you rise. Not because you're healed, not because everything's perfect, but because you've decided you will stand again and again. This is strength beyond muscle or might. It's strength of spirit. You don't need her voice. You need your own. You don't need her light. You need your own flame. And when that flame burns bright enough, it'll draw the right people. Not to save you, but to walk alongside you. You're not broken. You're becoming. The man who lost his way is the man who finds himself. And that journey, painful, lonely, relentless, is the greatest victory. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The hardest person to forgive is always yourself. Not because you're weak, but because you've been your own jailer, locked inside the cell of your mistakes, your regrets, your what-ifs. You carry those chains like a second skin. They've become so familiar that freedom feels like a foreign word, something you're afraid to even imagine. But that's where real healing starts, not with someone else's forgiveness, but your own. You have to look into the darkest corners of your heart and say, "I forgive you," even for the times you thought you were too broken to fix, even for the moments when you chose wrong or hurt the people you loved. Because holding on to that self-loathing only digs the grave deeper. There's a certain brutal kindness in facing your own failures. It strips away illusions and leaves you bare, exposed, but real. And being real is the only way forward. To build anything worthwhile, you have to start with the raw materials you've been given. Flaws, scars, and all. If this is all making sense to you, hit the subscribe button and join the paradox theory. Thank you. I know what it feels like to sit alone in a room and replay every mistake on a loop. to feel like you're drowning in a sea of should-haves and could-haves. That voice in your head telling you you're not enough, not worthy, not lovable. It's a thief, a liar. But here's what I've learned. Those thoughts only have power if you let them. You don't have to believe every story your mind tells you. You don't have to carry every burden it tries to place on your shoulders. You are not your past. You are not the sum of your failures. You are the man who decides to rise anyway. The man who refuses to stay down, no matter how many times life knocks him over. Because life will knock you down. It will test you. It will make you question every part of yourself. But the question is not, why me? The question is, what now? Will you crawl back under the covers and hide? Or will you stand, shaky and bruised, but standing nonetheless? That choice, that daily choice, is the measure of a man. I want you to understand something crucial. Strength isn't about never breaking. Strength is about breaking and then choosing to be whole again. It's about feeling every crack inside and still deciding you're worth piecing back together. There's no shame in pain, no dishonor in scars. Those are the marks of a man who has fought and survived, a man who's alive. The world may tell you to numb out, to bury the pain in distractions, drinks, women, noise, anything to avoid the silence. But that's cowardice masquerading as courage. True courage is facing the silence, leaning into the discomfort and finding your own voice in the stillness. It's here, in this uncomfortable place, that you'll find your truth. The truth that you are enough just as you are. The truth that no one else's love can complete you because you're already complete. This isn't some spiritual cliché. It's hard-earned wisdom forged in the fires of loneliness and struggle. And it's lonely work. There are days when the weight feels unbearable, when the nights stretch endlessly, and the thought of another morning feels impossible. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments where you decide who you are. You can choose to let the darkness swallow you whole, or you can choose to light a candle, however small, and hold it steady against the storm. That candle is your resilience, your refusal to be broken by life's cruelty. It's the quiet voice inside that says, I am here, I am enough, I will stand. And standing, even when you feel weak, is the greatest act of rebellion against a world that profits from your pain. So don't be ashamed of your scars. Don't hide your loneliness. Wear them like armor. Proof that you've lived. Proof that you've loved. Proof that you've lost and found your way back. Because this is what it means to be a man. Not perfect, not invincible, but real, vulnerable, brave enough to face the truth about himself and keep moving forward. The man who masters himself isn't the one who never falls. He's the one who rises every time, even when the world says he should stay down. And you, yes, you, are that man. This journey isn't about finding someone to save you. It's about saving yourself. It's about becoming the man you deserve. The man who doesn't need to be rescued because he's already whole. When you reach that place, you'll see the world differently. You'll stop chasing approval, affection, or attention, because you'll have built something unshakable inside. You'll attract love not because you're desperate or broken, but because you're whole, because you shine with a light no one can dim. And that light, it comes from the battle scars you wear proudly, from the nights you spent wrestling with your demons and won. This isn't a fairy tale. It's real, hard, beautiful. It's the story of every man who refuses to be less than he is. And it's your story too. The nights when silence feels like a weight pressing down on your chest. Those are the nights that shape you. When the world sleeps, but your mind races with every memory, every word left unsaid. You feel small in those moments, like you're shrinking under the vast emptiness. But that emptiness isn't a void. It's space. Space waiting for you to fill it with something real. Real courage isn't loud. It doesn't roar. It's a quiet refusal to break under the weight of being alone. It's the steady beat of your heart saying, "I'm still here. I'm still fighting." There is power in that quiet fight. It's the kind of power no one else can take from you because it's born inside. You carry it when the world turns cold. You hold on to it when everyone else has turned their back. Remember the words of Epictetus. No man is free who is not master of himself. Mastery isn't about controlling everything. It's about controlling what matters, your own mind, your own reactions, your own story. It's about refusing to let pain dictate who you are. Pain will come. It will hit hard and without warning. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is the threshold, the line you cross when you choose growth over comfort. It's the fire that melts away the lies you tell yourself about needing others to feel whole. When she walked away, it wasn't just a loss of someone else. It was a loss of an idea. The idea that someone else's love could save you. That's a dangerous lie because it leaves you empty when they leave. You don't rebuild your life with someone else's hands. You rebuild it with your own. Brick by brick. Day by day, in the silent moments no one sees. That's the true work of a man, to hold himself when no one else will. To sit with his loneliness and meet it face to face without flinching. To be present with his own darkness and find the strength to keep moving forward. Look at a candle burning out in a dark room. It's fragile, small, but it gives off light that pushes back the shadows. Your light is the same. It may flicker, it may dim, but it never truly goes out, not unless you let it. And when the world tries to convince you that your light isn't enough, that you need to be louder or bigger or better to matter, remember Marcus Aurelius's reminder. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What you think, what you tell yourself in these moments colors your entire being. So guard your mind fiercely. Feed it with truth, not with lies spun by loneliness or fear. Being a man doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out. It means you show up for yourself every day, even when it's hard. It means waking up and choosing integrity over comfort, strength over escape. No relationship, no text, no glance can give you what you must first find inside, peace with yourself. And that peace is not found by running away from pain, but by walking straight through it. Not by hiding from rejection, but by standing in it until it loses its power. Not by begging for love, but by loving the man you see when all the noise fades away. That's the real journey, the one no one talks about. The one where you become a man who doesn't need anyone else's permission to be whole. A man who can stand in his silence and find strength. A man who can walk alone and not feel broken. A man who knows his worth without needing to prove it. Because he's already proven it to himself. There's a moment, late at night, when the world feels like it's stopped breathing, and you're left alone with yourself. No distractions, no excuses, just the cold, steady truth staring back at you in the mirror. It's brutal. It strips away every mask you've worn to hide your fear, your shame, your loneliness, but it's also the moment that defines you. Because in that silence, you have two choices. Run from yourself or finally meet the man you've been avoiding. Most men run. They fill the silence with noise, scrolling endlessly, drowning out the ache with distractions, with alcohol, with empty conversations that go nowhere, but not you. Not anymore. You've tasted the bitterness of needing someone else to fill the void. You've felt the sting of rejection slicing through your pride like a blade. You've carried the weight of silence heavier than any burden. And now something shifts. You start to see that the love you were chasing, the kind that slips through your fingers like smoke, wasn't meant to be caught. It was a lesson. a call to turn inward. Because the only love that lasts is the one you give yourself. Imagine a man walking alone by the ocean at dawn. The sky is a canvas of bruised purple and fading stars. The waves crash relentlessly against the shore, each one erasing footprints, reminding him that nothing stays the same. Yet, he keeps walking. Why? Because he knows that strength isn't found in holding on to what's gone, but in moving forward despite it. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." You were poor once, poor in peace, poor in self-worth. But that hunger, that craving, can be the spark that lights your way out of the darkness. Now the hunger is different. It's not for validation. It's for truth. And so must we. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read your experiences and reflections. And if this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe. It's important, much more than you imagine. And trust me, the journey we're on together is just getting started. The next videos are going to go even deeper, so stick around. You won't want to miss what's coming next. See you soon.